Retraining Payne here. For those that don't know me, my name's Bryan. I'm retraining myself to get back into shape. I used to do an Ironman, did 12 of them. And so this vlog is about getting in shape at 60, getting back into shape, retraining myself, and also, retraining my mind, trying to learn from my mistakes. And then there's different little musings that I have, things that come to mind. So today, just finished my workout at LA Fitness. Prior to that, I did a 55-minute run. The run, for the first time in a long time, had a 6 in front of it, a 6:53 per kilometer. To put that in perspective, I've been doing like 7:24, 7:13 I think was my best. So it's like almost 30 seconds a kilometer faster from like just days ago, which is a big improvement. The other thing is I didn't have to walk to keep my heart rate down. So it was a double win. I think part of it was I also didn't do as much videoing as I normally do. When you pull the camera out from, your shorts and you're fiddling around, it does get the heart rate up, and then I have to walk. After I did the run though, I did not want to go to LA Fitness and do working out. Not at all. And the only thing I know that works is just don't even think about it. Just get in the car, drive, even though it's a 30-minute drive. Just do it. Just go like a robot and do it. Right up till I got there, I didn't want to do it. When I was doing it, I didn't want to do it. I was tired from the run. I was yawning, but I got her done. And at least you have that sense of accomplishment that even when you don't want to do it, you do it. And when you're 60 years old or you're older, everything they say is one of the most important things is to do weight training. For me, I do the same sort of weight training that I did when I was doing Ironman training. I do 2 sets of 15 and not overly heavy, but enough where I'm exhausted, like where the muscles, I can't do another one after. And then of course do some ab work. For me, the other day, I didn't mention it, but I've been kind of eating a little bit more than I normally do, and also just kind of getting the craving to have a few beers and stuff like that, even though when I have them, I don't get a buzz or anything like that, because I take Monjaro. And I just felt, I need a little bit of a boost. So I microdose, and I normally right now take 2.5 megabytes mg. Is it megabytes? No, it's not megabytes, megagrams mg per 3 days. And so I just bumped it up yesterday to 3.5. And it's interesting, in basically one day, it feels different already. And one of the things that maybe could be the reason why I slept yesterday, like yesterday I had a 3-hour nap, which is crazy. I think for 2 reasons. Number one is I need a CPAP machine. And then number 2 is when I was on Monjaro, when I first started, I got really tired. That was maybe the only side effect that I had in the beginning, was until my body adjusted, I was tired all the time. And maybe that's what it was. I increased just a little bit, I got tired. I don't know. The benefit though, there was another benefit, is the day before I had the best sleep of my life. And I had a 2-3 hour sleep, and then it was 9 hours total. And then last night it was a 3-hour nap, and then about 5 hours of regular sleep. I didn't feel as great today, but I didn't feel that bad. The one thing, a funny story about sleep and being on a CPAP machine, for those of you that are on a CPAP, one of the things years ago, I went in, had a test, and they said, hey, you have sleep apnea. Part of it I felt was, I was overweight, and I also had inflamed tonsils. Ever since I was a kid, I would constantly get sore throats, and the other side effect was, you get bad breath and, bacteria and things like that. So when I think I was 42 when I had my tonsils removed. And they say when you get your tonsils removed when you're older, it can really, hurt and things like that. And I thought, oh, come on, man. How bad can it be? Kids get it all the time. Anyway, it knocked me on my butt. And the upside, though, you always got to look at the upside, was I was doing some pretty heavy training, and it was like 7 to 10 pounds I just couldn't get rid of. And when I got my tonsils taken out, I got rid of it right away, because you're not eating as much. It was actually a blessing in disguise. Getting back to the CPAP machine, though, so I go in, they diagnose me with sleep apnea. They get me I have to get a CPAP machine, which, man, it was like $1,000 or something like that. And I'll tell you, it's really embarrassing, man. Like, man, I'm embarrassed if I have to buy toilet paper. There was like, I'll do it now, but I mean, like, early years, I didn't even want to be seen buying toilet paper. I was embarrassed by that. So I get this CPAP machine. I'm, 42 years old. You have to put it around your face like a fighter pilot mask. And I'm just so embarrassed going to bed and, being this guy with a mask on. I can't tell you how. Only recently have maybe I not gotten embarrassed by it. And it's just because there's a benefit to it. So I'm on this CPAP machine, and I get my tonsils out, and I lose weight. And I figure, you know what, I don't need this thing anymore. It was probably because I was overweight and I had tonsils and all that stuff removed that I don't need it. So I didn't use it for a long time, for like years and years and years. And then about a year ago, it was crazy. I was just so irritable and, biting heads off. And I think, the people around me walking on eggshells, if you know what that term means. And because Alice said to me, I feel like I'm walking on eggshells. So, I hear that and I'm like, wow, I think I need to go see a doctor. And so my doctor says, okay, I think, it might be something, I don't know, that, is psychological, and that you need, maybe to see a psychiatrist or whatever, one of those doctors, and they prescribe pills. Maybe you have anxiety or whatever. I can't remember. But anyway, he sent me to this, I guess they're a psychiatrist. They're doctors. They can prescribe pills. And I'm talking to her and, telling her, what I do, my lifestyle, that sort of thing. And whatever twigged her, it just came up. She said, do you nap at all? Do you sleep? Like have naps after work? I go, you know what? I do. I said, all the time. And she goes, well, how long are your naps? And I go, oh man, every day. They could be an hour, 2 hours. I just pass out on the couch. It's crazy. And she says to me, she goes, well, that's not normal. Like, a nap is usually 15 minutes. She goes, have you ever been checked out for sleep apnea? I said, yeah, absolutely I have. And I have sleep apnea. And she says, well, do you ever, do you use your machine? I go, no, I stopped using it because I thought I was cured, that tonsils and all this. And she says, well, one of the things, with being irritable and all that sort of stuff, is if you don't get a good sleep, and people that have sleep apnea, if they don't have a sleep where they're getting oxygen to the brain and all that, then some of the symptoms that people have are that irritability, everything that you described. And I went, okay. She says, look, I don't want to do anything, prescribe anything, because, we don't know. She says, can you go back, try your machine, and then, let's revisit in a couple of weeks, and let's see if there's been any difference. I say, yeah, absolutely. So I go home. I haven't used the machine for a while, so I've got to almost refurbish it with a new mask I have to go pick up and all the rest of it. So literally I use it that first night, literally within a day or two, all my irritability goes away. It was like night and day. And it was, I wasn't napping in the evening. It was like that, so immediate. And ever since then, I'm not embarrassed by having it, because it is so valuable. It was interesting, though, as a sidebar, as I'm talking to her, she's, saying, well, I fill out the forms that they have, and one of them, she says, based on what you said, I think, you're kind of like borderline ADD. And I said, well, but she goes, but the problem is you're an entrepreneur, because part of the questions they ask are, do you jump from thing to thing, or you got or you all kinds of questions, but they have more to do with when you're in business, you're constantly jumping between this decision, that decision, all that sort of stuff. So she says, do you want to go on some of these ADD pills or ADHD pills? And I'm like, okay, good boy pills. So I said, will it help me like in my job, concentrate, all that sort of stuff? She says, yeah, it may, be more focused. I go, yeah, what the hell? I'll try them. So anyway, I tried them. They didn't do anything. I stopped, taking them, but I was kind of hoping they would work. So back to the training. Here I am. I finished it all up. Yesterday I was supposed to go to LA Fitness. I didn't. I fell asleep for 3 hours, which I think this sleep is maybe why I ran better. I had 2 really good sleeps and the body healing, and my leg is getting a little bit better from when I walked into that fire hydrant the other day. Good news is it's not bruising. So I think, that almost, it makes me feel young when you're not bruising. It's when you're older that something happens, you bruise up. Anyway, as I've been talking, I got lost. So that's why I stopped. I'm in a parking lot. And I'm going to finish this off. Then I'm going to get my GPS and figure out how I'm going to get myself home. Over and out. Retraining Payne. Have a good one.